Hello! As you see, we're hanging out with one of the Blues Brothers. We have somebody wanted dead and alive over here, but I'm not here to talk to you about that. What I'm here to talk to you about is how we protect our partner's financial interest in the properties we acquire and flip. First of all, anytime I say I am referring to my partner and also team. I take 100% responsibility for everybody. What we do is we acquire properties a multitude of different ways. What I'm speaking to you about now is how we acquire auction properties and the process that we go through to do that. All auction properties, the capital must be paid into the clerk of the court at least a day prior if you're taking it physically to them, or if you're wiring, in some cases up to a week in advance. Some auction sites have different time limits on these, but for the most part the money goes straight to the clerk of the court. Then once a property is acquired, what happens is the next business day, the rest of the money has to be paid in full. The process that we do is I would do my due diligence on a lot of different properties, send you ones that you may be interested in. If it's acceptable and we decide to move forward, we would have an agreement. Part of what's in the agreement is some of what I'm going to share here, but of course is more detailed than what I'm sharing right here. What happens is when we get the property, especially a deed auction is what I'm speaking about right now, the deed is ours the very next day. We acquire property. The first thing that happens is we get insurance and turn on the utilities. But prior to that, we decide if it's going to be in your name, your company's name, my company's name, or a joint company, which would most likely be best for protection of everybody involved. Then, after we turn on the utilities, the very next business day, I'm over there, I reassess the property for any rehab that needs to be completed, and we start also at the same time, if it's feasible, to start doing a marketing campaign to sell the property. All the properties we acquire, we set the ARV a little lower than the real ARV. That way we sell them quickly. We also do our money on 80% annualized returns, and that would be split between us. And how does that work? For example, if a property takes 3 months and there's $100,000 in it, an 80% annualized return is $20,000. So we're going to use this number throughout this example so you have complete clarity on how the money works and how come we put your interest first. Let's say we acquire a property, again $100,000, and we flip it in 3 months. And that's what our projections were, okay? Now, so we acquire the property, we flip it in 3 months, and the $100,000 makes us $20,000 profit. You would get 10, I would get 10. The same 3 months, same $100,000. We make $30,000 profit. You would get 15, I would get 15. But now let's look at some two scenarios that aren't so favorable. Let's say we acquire a property, and instead of, and the projection is 20,000, but we make 10. What would happen in that case is you would receive $7,000, which is 70% of the first 40% of the 80% annualized return. Then I would make $3,000, which is 30%. Well, let's say we made $15,000 in profit. What would happen? is you would receive $8,500. That is 70% of the first $10,000 and then 30% of the remaining $5,000. And I would make $6,500, which is 30% of the first $10,000 and 70% of the remaining $5,000. And of course, your initial investment is always coming out of the property first before profits are counted. Below, what you'll find is you'll find a link. The document you'll see is on a property coming up and that we can acquire. I've already exhausted all the other leads and the people are nowhere to be found, or they definitely don't want to be found. Other research you'll see, so you see the property, you see the A1 and A2, that stands for the appraiser's office, the first document I print and the second document I print. And the one that says tax is from the tax office. So it's very simple and easy to follow, easy to understand. I also have a Zillow document, which by the way I put no weight on, and also a realtor.com document, which I also put no weight on. I do all my assessments and evaluations with another software, which is iOS, Investor Operating Software System that our community has access to. Anyway, if you're interested, click the link. If you're interested beyond that, contact me, because you will find my details. If you are doing your due diligence and looking, you'll find my details in the documents. Oh, and keep in mind, we have a deal of decade almost every week. Thank you for your time. I look forward to working with you if you decide to move forward. So if you're looking to grow your net worth, work with us.